And then she shows up in ornithology, not alone, but dragging some of her friends that she had also convinced to take the class. Lisa took a huge course load because she was also double majoring in history. Along the way, she picked up 2 minors. She showed up in ornithology. She encouraged students in later semesters to take that class. She brought her posse to film nights. Sometimes they were most of the people there. She joined every club she possibly could. Was in a lot of extracurricular activities. But I have to mention that through all of this, Lisa was a real rock for her family. Her family suffered a lot of losses, and Lisa was a real emotional support for them, both giving and receiving. And that would be a strain on anybody. But through all of that, Lisa maintained really high grades and just wrote consistently interesting and provocative writing with some of the very best paper titles I've ever read. So this fall, Lisa is going to be attending Simmons University for its dual degree master's program in archives management and history. And since I know that she is just going to be needing this at Simmons and in her career, I'm going to give Lisa something that she is absolutely going to need. And of course, I'm going to share my screen here. Find it. Lisa is going to need the one thing in her life that will get her out of every confusing bit of bureaucracy that's in her way, her own pre-signed petition to amend degree requirements for life. So congratulations, Lisa. May this get out of jail free card serve you very well in your future. You've made us better, and I'm really going to miss you. We're going to miss you.
Woo! Thanks, Swain. That's so sweet. The first day I put on makeup, and now you're going to make me cry it all off. Oh.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So it looks like Sarah is still having trouble getting onto the internet, and so she has asked me to read this for Thomas for the Outstanding Student in Creative Writing Award. So imagine that I am Sarah reading these words. Okay. Thomas, are you ready? Okay. So Thomas Mattis is outstanding in so many ways. Thomas is a talented writer committed to their work and to fully engaging in experiences that make them grow. They are the sort of student every professor wants in their class, exceptionally bright, hardworking, and eager to participate. But most importantly, Thomas is unwavering in kindness and is determined to build community in and out of the classroom. They make everyone feel welcome everywhere, and that's such a beautiful thing. In addition, Thomas has actively participated in the GE and Creative Writing Clubs for years and has served as president of the Creative Writing Club this past year, guiding the club through some rocky waters and creating opportunities for students like writing contests and field trips. We have been so lucky to know, work, and learn with you. Your presence will be sorely missed. Thank you.
I have to unmute.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I was muted. I want to thank everybody, all the teachers that I've had these past few years, and I'm really honored to receive this. And I'm sad that Sarah couldn't be here, but I know that she meant every word that she wrote.
So shall we continue with the Sigma Tau Delta induction ceremony?
Absolutely.
Okay. So it is my pleasure to induct 4 new members today, Kea Lopez, AJ Pio, Dom Treadwell, and Ruth Way into the International English Honor Society Sigma Tau Delta. These students have met the requirements for membership, but more importantly, they have demonstrated a passion for literature and learning that is at the core of Sigma Tau Delta's mission. Sigma Tau Delta is the International English Honor Society and a member of the Association of College Honor Societies. The society has its roots in the English Club at Dakota Wesleyan University in Mitchell, South Dakota. Founded in 1924, the English Club attracted the attention of departments of English at 20 other institutions and resulted in the nationalization of the order under its present name that same year. Within a year, 71 chapters were established with a common constitution, mission, and qualifications for membership. From its formation, Sigma Tau Delta has stood for sincerity, truth, and design, and has aimed to promote interest in literature and the English language on campuses and in their surrounding communities. Sigma Tau Delta publishes The Rectangle, which is the official journal of the society, and is written and edited by its members. In 1988, the society became international. There are at present over 775 chapters of Sigma Tau Delta, making it the third largest member of the Association of College Honor Societies. SNHU established its own chapter, Alpha Pi Psi, in the fall of 2008. The Honor Society provides eligible English language and literature and creative writing majors and minors with opportunities to attend and present at conferences, publish undergraduate work, take field trips, and foster networking opportunities for professional advancement. Sigma Tau Delta welcomes students to apply who have completed at least 3 semesters at SNHU, have completed more than 2 literature courses beyond the core requirements, and have maintained a minimum 3.3 GPA. Kea, AJ, Dom, and Ruth, in recognition of your reception into Sigma Tau Delta, you will receive a certificate, a pin, and a fancy black and red cord. Congratulations.
Awesome.
So we're going to transition over to the senior readings now, which are hosted by Dave Maloney. Dave's going to introduce all of our readers and take it away.
Hi, everybody. This is probably the strangest reading I have done, and I've been to some strange readings, but I think what was sort of missing in this is the nervousness you all would have had waiting your turn to come up and read in front of everybody. So you might have been saved from that, but it's also it's a difficult thing to do. So I kind of wanted to get you to practice, because I think someday all of you are going to be reading in front of a crowd again. And I say that honestly. So I know it was difficult for all of you to make these videos. So we're doing the reading in video format. All the students that are reading have already pre-recorded their readings. And what I'm going to do is introduce each student, and then I'm going to play the video. So my practice run went well, so let's make sure this goes well. So the first reader, and I can't find her in the group. I don't think Alexa is here. But Alexa Gustafson, she's graduating in the fall, but we are counting her in this senior reading. So this semester, Alexa has been working on The Moral Is, a series of letters written by a seductive serial killer who goes by Elizabeth, Liz, and Lizzie. The stories are fun, vivid, and violent, which is interesting when matched with Alexa's work in nonfiction, which deals with her constant paranoia and fear of death. Alexa writes with fearlessness, isn't afraid to be provocative, but also with a curiosity of morality and death. So here is Alexa reading from The Moral Is.
The moral is letter 5. For Lizzie, I will keep this short and sweet, as this is the hardest letter to write. I want to start, though, by apologizing for letting you down. I did not become the person you had wished I would. I became far worse. I sometimes look in the mirror and wonder what you would think of the person that stares back. Little Lizzie was a happy girl, playing with her toys in the front lawn as her mother would garden, running around the soccer field with her friends as they practiced for the middle school team, sitting under the old oak tree in the backyard reading a book in the middle of summer. Who would have thought that little girl would become a murderer? I wish I could explain the rush I got when watching life leave someone's eyes, or seeing them take their last breath. It was like I was sucking up the life they were leaving behind, never feeling more alive than in that moment. I hate that part of myself now. I have probably killed over 20 people in my lifetime, but these 4 are the ones that have meant the most to me. Jacob, my first everything. Elijah, who opened me up. Molly, who was something new. And Harry, the only person I ever really loved. It's been just about 48 hours now since I killed Harry, and I've been hiding out in my friend's apartment while she's away in Paris. The TV is covered with my face. I guess I had to see this coming. I think about the little girl I used to be and how she wanted to be a nurse. She wanted to save people's lives. She would hate me now. God, I hate me now. I have nothing to live for and nothing to lose. So what's one more kill? Someone will find these letters soon enough. My confessions to murder. Maybe it will even bring someone peace, knowing what happened. My body will be found on the tracks of the underground. Maybe even that will bring peace to someone too. It will bring peace to me. To see my mom and dad again. To know I can't hurt anyone else. The moral of all of this is that it's my time to go and stop disappointing you, little Lizzie. To stop ripping apart the dreams of a once bright and beautiful little girl. Of all the things I've done, I am most sorry to you for not seeing your dreams through. Goodbye, Lizzie.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay, that was great. I hope all of you can hear that, right? The sound's okay?
Yep.
Yeah? I know this is hard, but okay, so next is we have Dominique Treadwell. I just want to pull this up before I share my screen and get it ready. Okay, so Dominique, where's Dom? Oh, there you are. So Dom, when I've said this in class, I'm going to say it again. When I try to describe what makes a successful short story, at least in my opinion, I always say it is because the story is unforgettable. Years after reading it, I may think about a character or scene while jogging, and I smile or become saddened by the memory. But good literature affects us. And Dom has written a short story I don't think I will ever forget. The Love Doctor special stars Dr. Holloway and Sensual Steve. For those of you who are on the search committee and attended my class, Dom wrote this story to make you uncomfortable, just to let you in on a little secret. And that was the reason why she was inspired to write this. But it ended up not being about sex. It ended up being about love. Sensual Steve, who presses the doctor on the concept of love. This story is funny, insightful, and unexpectedly deep, which isn't surprising because Dawn is also funny and insightful and deep. So here she reads from her unforgettable story, The Love Doctor special.
My name is Dominique Treadwell, and this is an excerpt from my story, The Love Doctor Special. You have to understand that love is like my own store, and I work in all the departments. It's my life's work and passion. What I consider to be the 5 most common types of love, and pride myself in being able to identify, are companion, lust, familial, friend, and foe. Steve had clearly lost interest after lust. The 5 types are probably not what he considered to be his own types. Holloway guessed his mind was running through: blonde, brunette, redhead. Doctor, would you care to walk us through those before we lose the attention of our gorgeous audience? I hope less is what I think it is, Steve said with a grin. He possessed no subtlety. Holloway noticed multiple empty tissue boxes around the small studio. He moved his arms from the table. Yes, this was a sensual man. Well, it really is quite a bit to get across in half an hour, but Steve cut him off. This one was more stubborn, more bold than the others. We want to get to the juicy stuff. At least the freaky, if you know what I mean, Steve interjected. This show caters to the more physical, less academic types. He tilted his head and raised his eyebrows. You understand? Holloway forced out a laugh. Of course, he said. There was one sitting across the table right now. Let's see. He thought for a moment about the question, and then about how he came to be in this room where his passion was defiled. Companion love is simple. It's a relationship that was forged friendship and built on a solid foundation. He smiled, such a pure thing to have, and he wouldn't downplay its importance for this creep. Oh, come on, Doctor, please, Steve whined. For us lowlifes. He laughed, causing a bead of sweat to roll down his temple. Please? Holloway considered explaining to the man that this one-way track of thinking has likely led to his solitary life. Companion love, he said without a smile, is brushing your teeth in the morning while your partner pees next to you to the beat of the song stuck in their head. He had had a couple come to him months ago and tell him that story, citing it as an issue in their love life. Holloway disagreed, and they sing the song together now. Unless, Steve asked, this is what he wanted to get to. Desperation drifted off him sitting on the carpet. Well, I can see you know what it is, Holloway said, trying to see the conversation toward the cleaner aspects. He was greeted with a disapproving grunt. Well, unless there's very strong sexual desire, like you right now, so desperate for some kind of release, you look like you're about to go down on your microphone, Holloway said, now smiling. Steve laughed, but it was weak. He wanted to save face. Familial love, Holloway said, now taking control of the conversation, is fighting tooth and nail with its sibling over the last candy bar or the best seat in the car, or roundhouse kicking anyone who tries to hurt them like you do. Steve nodded, but his ego was bruised, and he was again growing bored of the conversation. Friend love, Holloway quickly continued, is seeing your friend get drunk even though it's supposed to be your night, but you still take them home, clean them up, and berate them when they get just slightly hungover. Steve made a half-hearted joke about friends with benefits, mumbling it into the mic. A faint buzzer sounded, signaling the end of their discussion. Oh no, out of time, Steve perked up, sounding relieved. Thank you, Doctor, for taking the time to be here with us. And that's the end.
Okay, and that was Dom. Okay, so I want to pull up the next one. So this next one is by Erin O'Hara, and I know Erin is here. I'm just going to pull it up and pause it. So Erin, as we all know, is fantastic to have in class, and I'm totally going to miss Erin. She has a range that makes me jealous, and I sometimes say I'm jealous of the students and their ideas because I wish I came up with them myself. But from her knowledge of psychology, she's frequently our resident clinician in workshop. To her introspective nonfiction, literary analysis, and difficult emotional fiction, Erin seemingly works at ease across disciplines. But we know that isn't the case. Erin is one of the hardest working students I've taught. She has also left us with some wild fiction. One story led a character to an apartment building and to build a guillotine in his apartment for himself, only to not be effective enough and to leave him bleeding out for the remainder of the story. So Erin also wrote a wonderful fever dream essay in nonfiction while battling the flu. As we all know, Erin missed a few weeks at the start of the semester and somehow heroically wrote one of the best essays in nonfiction this semester with 104 temp. I kind of wish that she could get that temp again to keep writing in that state because it was just fantastic. So this is what Erin will read from. Before she reads, I do want you all to focus on how Erin makes herself a character. We talk about this a lot in nonfiction, and I think Erin does it extremely well. So this is Erin reading from her personal essay while she had the flu.
As if the brain. It did not matter if Darren loved Samantha because Dad loved her too much to make room for anyone else. He thought she was the most wonderful creature to ever read through the waves of cable TV. She was smart, charming, and not to mention slightly impish. Dad delighted in the fact that she would wrinkle her nose to evade any sign of trouble. He wished his daughter would have the makings of the witty witch. He would even go as far to name her Samantha, just to gain the smallest piece of the fictional identity. However, his daughter had other plans. There was a bet going on between the two merging families of the unborn girl. If the girl was born on an even day, her name would be Samantha, and she would have to learn to wrinkle her nose in times of distress. If she were born on an odd day, her name would be Erin, an Irish moniker that would pair well with the family's heritage. If she were born on Christmas Day, her name would be Holly Noel. Erin O'Hara was born on the 17th, an odd day, a cold day, a day where they serve banana cream pie in the hospital. Lesson number 1. Dad loves Samantha. Aaron hates bananas. My parents were very collected souls when it came to their views. My mom grew up in the south of Groveland, Massachusetts, with 6 siblings in an overly Protestant household. Each sibling was wound tighter than the last. The oldest sibling took offense when one wore a coat at the kitchen table. She took it as a sign that they were going to take off with a vengeance if she did not hinder their belongings. To her credit, we all dismissed. She was born to be a leader with her flaming hair and shrewish attitude. The second sibling lived as though God personally made him the head of the Trump campaign. His niece was a fan of Ariana Grande and owned the merchandise to promote her new album. Her shirt was labeled with God is a woman. He informed her that her shirt was offensive to him and God. His God could possibly not be a woman because women were inferior to men. He let everyone know his point of view when he remarried his second wife. His vow alluded to the fact that she should submit to his whims under any circumstance. In a sea of lost shoes, plastic strands, and rubbery legs was 500 Barbies. Every doll was complete with stickered blue eyes and a gapless smile. The long torsos and the webbed fingers were plunged into silicone hardener that would prevent them from bending. These heavily made-up creatures were clad with crowns and jewels. They were perfect. Barbie can be anything. She was a singer, a mermaid, and a lady. As I reread these now, I realize they could be something, but maybe not. My mind attempts to make meaning out of Bewitched, my aunts, uncles, and Barbies. Under no circumstances do any of these subjects belong under the contents of one paper unless the flu has taken over my brain and I have become a slave to a simple nationwide germ. I have graduated a year early, won 2 beauty pageants and taken the GREs, but I cannot write a cohesive essay with the flu. Everything I have done in my life has been hard, but this might be the hardest. My one wish is to let my common illness form into pneumonia so I will not have to face the harshness of the workshop full of writers who cherish the written word, while I hope all the words fall silent, so me and my phlegmy cough can find peace.
I mean, that's just wonderful writing. I don't know where Erin is. Oh, there you are. And just a note on that piece, we were going to have a nonfiction workshop along with the psychology department in March, which was canceled and lost to this as well. And Erin was chosen to be the student reader for that essay. So another sort of missed opportunity, but I'm glad Erin read it tonight because I feel like she needs to publish that ASAP somewhere. So thank you, Erin, wherever you are. Oh, there you are. Sorry. Okay, so next we have Lauren Bori. So I'm going to pull up Lauren's video. Okay, sorry. This isn't the typical MC. It's kind of stressful. It's not. I'm supposed to be able to go up to the mic and kind of tell a joke. But this is like, oh God, is this gonna work? So this is Lauren. Where's Lauren? Oh, there you are. So Lauren was our only nonfiction writer in advanced creative writing this semester. We had all fiction writers and Lauren. Lauren isn't afraid to test her readers' limits. Highly affecting, passionate, and at times heavy, Lauren explores eating disorders, abusive partners, submissiveness, but also redemption. There lies the power in her work. We are seeing a new Lauren able to free herself from her past and carve a new way forward. Nonfiction can be cathartic, but only when the writer is ready. The growth in Lauren's writing over the past semester suggests she is more than ready. Here is her reading from The Mind's Eye.
I watched you fail and fall, countless times. I laughed in the face of your fight against desire. You were stronger in the second round. Restraint called your name, whispered it silently in the night while you slept. We were brainwashed, in love with our sickness. It took over every moment you lived, the single thing you lived for. Afraid to know who you'd be without your empty stomach. To eat would be to lose, to feel full would be to lose. A meal a day, water on an empty stomach, drink until the pain was gone, a cycle that echoed within you until it was all you knew. You didn't want to find a home inside normality when all you were surrounded by was the desire to take up less space. Your bed smelled like old sex, sweat and tears, and no matter how often you washed the sheets, the scent lingered. A constant reminder of who you were, where you were headed. Breakfast gave you anxiety. I triggered the alarms if you went in for a bite, and your stomach angered any time you tried. You became a slave to the illness, and I as well. Campus swelled with life. The sound of voices traveled through the bedroom window. Birds flew, never winded. You took every opportunity to dwindle yourself down to nothing but the skin that hung off your bones. Campus sounded too loud, too full, too happy. There was nowhere to hide, nowhere to fall apart as loudly as you wanted. You lived in the gym. You ran until it hurt, watching those around you build themselves up, kept wondering how much it burned to lift their weights off the floor. You loved the pain. It scorched your muscles, a wretched burn that made you cringe. The smaller you were, the more desirable, the more successful, the more fuckable, the more you were loved. A demented outlook on love, a broken, worn out kind of love that you bathed yourself in. We became a twisted pair, you and I. The highlights of our life were coated in calorie deficits and muscle pain and empty sex that never filled the abyss within us. But we kept it going. Kept allowing men to use our body like a rag doll, tossing it to the side when they got their lay. Kept allowing ourselves to skip meals, drink with an empty stomach, love our shrinking body and the way it decayed. Kept allowing ourselves to be addicted to laxatives. A bitter pleasure found in the cramps of emptying an already empty body. 9 a day, sometimes 10, until you were so reliant you needed them for relief. Your life became colorless. Thinning faded the world around you. The weight kept falling and you went colorblind. It was a fair trade-off. That's what the illness told you.
Woo! Wow.
That was well done, Lauren. Right, yeah. That was fantastic. And difficult, I think, to read, and I know that, and thank you for doing that. I always try to make the student, well, not make, encourage the students to read in class to sort of get those jitters out. And Lauren, you read that with grace. So, okay. So it's just, I think it's fantastic reader after fantastic reader. So now we have River. Where are you? So, yeah. So the recipient of the department's Creative Writing Award, River has done much outside the classroom to build and support the Creative Writing Club. They also bring a strong presence to the classroom. River always has constructive feedback and praise for their peers. They also write damn good fiction themselves. In their work in progress, Game of Love, where the protagonist finds themselves searching for companionship in virtual reality, Jade struggles with connecting with real people and hopes her love interest in the game, Viola, will build her confidence. The result is a story of loneliness, but also hope. Here is River reading from Game of Love. It's coming, I swear.
The office reeked of cherry blossom. I wasn't looking at my therapist. He had one of those fake fireplaces with a mantle of various knickknacks, an old wooden clock with gold trim, a statue of the Buddha made of bronze, and a porcelain sheep with a chipped ear. I always registered that the shelf was there, but never really had a good look at it. Mr. Crops, my therapist, a young man with horn-rimmed glasses and buzz-cut brown hair, scribbled on his yellow legal pad. I'd been seeing him for nearly a year. His ad was quite compelling, sheerly because of its placement. He had an ad billboard put in the background of the sci-fi drama Planetary Soldiers. When I finally got the guts to ask, he told me his brother was the director. "Did you try what I suggested last week?" He seemed to point to something on his pad, as if I could see through his eyes. I picked at my face until Crops told me politely to stop. I ran through my week in my head, stacking used CDs, refilling candy dispensers, and testing out scratched DVDs. I had seen the woman twice. The woman with pink hair and light blue fingernails. She would stop and buy something at least once a week. She knew all the staff by name, yet the way she said my name always made me feel special. She'd place whatever she was buying on the counter as if it were fragile. "Hello again, Jade," she would say. I'd always mutter a hello. When she left, I would spend the rest of the day beating myself up. I didn't even know her name. I muttered no to the stained carpet. Crops gave a slight grunt of disapproval. I heard the tapping of his pen against the pad. "I'd like to try something new." I heard him stand up and walk away from me. There was a tearing of plastic. "I remember you mentioning you own a Periphery headset. Am I correct?" I nodded. I'd saved up to purchase the virtual reality set. I ended up barely using it. The games were hardly worth it, and too expensive for my taste. He handed me a jewel case with a small silver CD inside. It was almost blank, except for the black text that read, "Game of Love." Crops sat down smiling, already pleased with the result. It came up in a catalog I ordered my materials from. It seemed perfect for you.
Wow.
I'm really bummed I'm not going to be able to read the end of that story. River got about, I think, 5 or 6 pages short of the ending, and I'm very bummed. So when you finish it, River, you know my email, because I've been left hanging with a cliffhanger on that story. So next is Ruth Way. I'm going to pull up Ruth. Okay. So Ruth, where are you? Oh, there you are. So Ruth has been an absolute joy to have in class. Ruth is studious, funny, and compassionate. Whenever there is silence, awkward silence after a question is asked, Ruth always pops her hand up to the point where I have to say no. Somebody else needs to raise their hand. And sometimes Ruth doesn't even know the answer. She just can't stand that minute of silence, which I love. And as a writer, Ruth has rhythm. I'm going to read just a few lines from her latest story. That night, the family made veggie burgers and ate outside. They sat on camping chairs with the plates balanced on a knee and cups, too big for their holders, poking out of the chair arms. Her parents talked about the new honey stand at the market and the passing of Mr. Liu, the husband of a regular at the stand for the past 3 years. They'd sent Mrs. Liu away with her produce, free of charge. And even though that doesn't sound spectacular, I think Ruth's rhythm seems almost ordinary when we read it. I think she has something that a lot of writers take years to learn. And it's consecution, it's pacing, and Ruth, I think you're fantastic at that. So I just had to say that. Ruth also wrote a wonderful sex scene. It was probably the best sex scene of the semester, though Ruth was the only...
Maloney!
I have to.
I will unmute myself to fight you on this.
Though Ruth was
what
the only...
What really happened was David Maloney can find a sex scene in anything I write. Apparently, that's just how our brains meet.
And
It
now
wasn't just me, it was the whole class. And for those of you in class, you could raise your hand and stick up for me. Dom, no? Okay, Dom's not on my side.
I'm never on your side, I'm sorry.
That's true. So, but it's sort of been the running joke all semester now. And so here is Ruth reading that sex scene. No, here's Ruth reading from her story, The Aging of a No Longer Young Man, which is a fantastic title.
Whoa.
The strands sat in piles, small ones, but piles all the same. Some ran off on their own, now stranded solo on the bedsheet or hanging off the mattress side like rock climbers. Regardless, George's hair no longer sat atop his head. He rushed past the organized desk, through the hall and the shoes lined by height. George gawked at his elongated forehead in the mirror, tapping the new, smooth scalp. The motion stuttered, scared that the remaining strands may fall away like dead flower petals. He raised and lowered his eyebrows, flexing. The sun shot in. It projected a perfect box on the bathroom's wall, with dust dancing in the beam in between. It shined off George in two ways, bouncing from the bald patches and winding through the thin brown wisps that still took root. He wrinkled his nose, upper lip curling. He knew about this new label, the aging of a no longer young man, and it leapt on him. Unexpected and rather rude, it shoved the pleasantries aside and arrived overnight with gusto. George used to plan for this like one planned for an apocalypse. He imagined seeing the signs, the thinning followed by receding. From there he would stock up on supplies, aloe, tea tree oil, and other follicle fertilizers. Eventually he would wield a weapon and cut down the enemy. He found relief in that he already owned the weapon of choice. He plugged the metal teeth into the outlet, shocking himself. The cord flowed to the 10-year-old silver buzzer. Chin held high, he whacked off the hair still hanging on. The short strands scratched the arch of his foot as he tried to sweep them up. Throwing the wisp away felt like a funeral of youth. He fought back with a tight shirt and shiny cufflinks. He drove to work with the top down, making sure to pin his silk tie to his shirt. He sat in the car outside, music on and engine running. To his right, the industry park stood tall, maybe taller than before. For the first time, George saw those 12 stories, and they seemed to outweigh the 14 and 13 of the buildings around it. The windows swallowed the sun, and the concrete let the light die on it. He stayed in the car until he heard the sizzle of the leather seats in the sun.
Another wonderful reading. Thank you, Ruth. I'm also bummed I never got to read that story. So we're down to our final three, and the next writer is Jasmine Tyrants. Where's Oh, there you are, Jasmine. So Jasmine is a prolific writer. In just the last 2 semesters, she has produced close to 100 pages of new fiction. Almost every time I set the cap at 25 pages, she asks if she can go over, which is incredible. So 100 pages in 6 months is something to be proud of. And it's not just it's not fast writing; it's actually really good writing. So she is writing her novel. This is her Albatross. It is plowing forward with impressive speed, page-turning plot, and fully realized characters. Vina has escaped her father's dangerous grasp and shady business, and is hiding with the help of Shira and Yov. There's deception, devotion, friendship, intrigue, and violence. I can definitely see this thriller on the shelf one day. Here's Jasmine reading from her novel, This is Her Albatross.
I locked the bathroom door and took off my clothes. It felt like I peeled old skin off as I was about to cleanse myself. I stared down at the pile of wrinkled cloth, seeing dark blots on my shirt and hoodie. How did those people in that place not notice them? I turned on the shower and undid my ponytail. I ran my fingers through the hair that had been pressed down with heat. Even this silky mess felt disgusting, like oil or grease. I felt the water spitting from the shower head onto my fingertips. Hot. It burned. Good. I'd make sure that there would be nothing left of that monster on me. I placed myself under the spray. I felt the boiling water run down my strands and over the red stains on my neck. I closed my eyes as I used the steel bar to scrub them off. I scrubbed harder and harder. I didn't care about how the mix of soap and hot water stung as they flowed over the fresh crescent wounds Cynthia left. In fact, I was probably still bleeding. I didn't care. I took the shampoo and lathered it into my hair. I felt silk evolve into the kinks and curls my hair was really made of. I felt almost relieved as the scent of shea butter blended into the stale steam that flooded the room. My mouth curled up into a smile as I conditioned my dark strands. It was almost too easy for me to ram the wide teeth of the comb through my thick locks. I washed out the product, relishing in the freedom from the silk press that smoothed down my natural spirals for years. I dried myself off and wrapped my head in the towel. I squeezed it so that the water left in my hair could be absorbed into the cloth. In my attempts to dry, I noticed my blurry reflection in the foggy mirror. I wiped it off with my hand and looked at myself, paying special attention to my neck. The blood was gone. Remnants of his assault completely washed off. I had felt clean and rested. After the ordeal I had in the past 2 days, a shower was something needed, a distraction, or some type of relief from what my real problems were. I unwrapped the towel from my head, releasing my hair. I stared at myself again, from my dark skin to my spiraling strands. They were nice between my fingers, and for the first time in years, my natural curls made me feel nice. It was like I did myself a favor in letting go of that heated pressure.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
That's a very important scene in the novel, and we talk about the hero's journey, and that is her rebirth scene. And I think it's the ritualistic nature of the shower is just fantastically done. So well done, Jasmine. Where you are? Yeah. Okay, so now we have Wesley. There's Wesley. Hi, Wesley. So I'm going to pull up Wesley reading. So Wesley is reading from his screenplay in progress, What's Left is Right. And as Wesley reads, he's doing sort of name cards so you can follow along who is reading. So What's Left is Right is Wesley's satirical screenplay in progress. The Smiths have moved from conservative Texas to a small suburb in California that leans heavily left. They are trying to fit in without riling everyone over their politics. I applaud Wesley for challenging himself, writing a political satire in a highly partisan world. We have found in workshop, this is a very difficult needle to thread, and when Wesley nails it, it's funny as hell. There's humor, history, and moments that cause self-reflection. I see myself in some of the crazy leftists in the screenplay sometimes. Here is Wesley reading from his screenplay, What's Left is Right.
What left is right.
Interior, Pollock High School basement, day. Walking cautiously with her phone's flashlight on in the dark basement, which contains many items in storage, boxes, bins, old teaching equipment, etc. Caitlin jumps when she sees another girl, Candace, 16, hiding as well. Ah! You hiding too? Yeah. How did you know? I know that group of girls all too well. They drag any girl that doesn't conform to their mindset by force. Caitlin sits down next to Candace. Yeah, I figured that. Leaders of that group have come and gone over the years. Only a select few girls have managed to never get dragged in. Since I was a freshman, I've been one of them. Now you are too. How did you keep getting away from them? I distracted them by saying Brett Kavanaugh was here. Me too. Yeah, they certainly aren't the brightest bunch. They somehow still get fooled by that. I haven't gotten your name yet. What is it? My name's Candace. Yours? My name's Caitlin. I just moved here. The two shake hands. Frankly, I'm not into politics, but I feel like I'm forced to be into it at times because my family is so deeply engrossed in it. Same here. All you hear and see these days is politics, 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 and in this town it's worse because everyone is obsessed with it. Many here get taught to think how Mayor Nancy thinks, then many go on to college for jobs in places like political office and the media. Really? Yep, you hardly see any graduates here go into blue-collar jobs, all politics. The girls in the feminist club? They're likely going to work in Mayor Nancy or even the governor's administration. The two look up at the basement ceiling. A light is on, but is flickering. You know, politics are like this ceiling. It's dark and ugly. It can end relationships, divide us, and destroy peace. It's a flawed system that's full of holes that can be fixed. Also like this ceiling. Well said, Candace. We need to just listen to each other as members of the same species, hear what we have to say from the many backgrounds we come from, and listen to the ideas that come from all these backgrounds. And maybe if we do that, the world will become a better place and we won't be so divided. I couldn't have said it any better. The flickering light stops flickering and stays on. The two get up and walk out of the basement to class. Interior Pollock High School basement / Interior Pollock High School continuous. So, will I be seeing you around? You bet, as long as we keep running into the popular girls, that is. Right? Bye. Bye-bye.
Wow. Nicely done, Wesley. A one-man show. Good work there. So now we have our last reader who comes in the form of a YouTube video with music behind the reading, which I was loving. We have Kang, and I have the unfortunate situation where I never had Kang in class, and I'm really bummed out about that. But David Swain has, so he is going to introduce Kang's work.
Oh, yeah, I've had Kang in class. Everybody's been in class. Kang's a department treasure. Man, Kang, you are funny. You are polite. You are a lovely, lovely person.
Thank you.
Kang is a really sensitive writer. I know him mostly through his critical writing. And I will never forget a moment on one of these Zoom things. I think it was for Lit Theory just a couple days ago. Kang asked a question that brought the whole thing to complete silence, just completely floored us.
Oh.
Said it better than anybody had. And Kang, you have real talent, I think, for distilling ideas and for sensitively listening to how other people feel and understanding why they feel it. So I am really glad to introduce you.
Yeah, I'm happy to know that because actually, since I studied in New Hampshire, I mean at SNU, I feel like I improved myself a lot because it's kind of difficult to expose anybody talent in my own country. So when I came here, I have been here for 2.5 years. So I just wish like to study more about everything, because I feel like I'm not only in study but also like my whole life. But uh yeah, but like when I first came here, I experienced many difficulty to get the visa here. And when I answered the interviewer, he asked me why I wanted to come to the United States. And my answer is for knowledge, because my my desire is getting more knowledge and bring me back to my country to help other students in my own country getting better. Yeah, and I understand knowledge is the weapon to help you fight in your life. Yeah, not like the knowledge from everything. Yeah. So that's why I come here. And then the reason why I'm here. And thank you for you all knowledge, for you all teaching. I appreciate it.
Kang, that's fantastic. And
Yeah.
and I should also add that Kang's a filmmaker, budding filmmaker, and I hope all of you got to see his COVID-19 public service announcement / James Bond. It's fantastic. Anyway, take it away.
All right. Now move on my story.
I'm muted. Sorry, I was just loving that. Okay, I'm going to share the run.
Hello everyone, I'm pleased to read my creative writing to you. The Run. A new day on the earth used to begin with a bowl of cereal and milk for breakfast. That is what you would dream about now, because humans have not had those kinds of simple enjoyments since the earth was colonized by strangers from an unknown planet in the universe. People named them the giant monsters, and since they have been stationed here on the earth, their numbers have been greatly increasing. The appearance of these giants came without warning, and no one prepared for the chaos that followed. All commerce.
Oh no.
It's okay.
It's building up the suspense.
Yep. Yeah.
Are you so popular you have ads on your YouTube channel?
No.
He's
I'm kidding. Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We were doing so well. Hold on, let me just go a little bit forward and play.
Kang's buffering.
It's alright.
Kang, do you have it on your computer? Can you play it?
Oh yeah, sure. Let me pull it out.
Can you share your screen?
Hold on.
I don't know what
yeah.
happened.
Okay. Okay. Give me a second.
We almost made it all the way. We were 2 minutes away. I think that sums up this whole experience the last 5 weeks.
Okay.
Earth.
Okay.
No, Dom, I kicked my kids off Animal Crossing before we started.
Share screen.
Politely asked.
Politely asked, yes.
Okay. Start share. Desktop. That's okay. That's you see my screen now?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay.
While we wait for King, I want to thank everyone that read. I know this was sort of something a lot of you were anxious about, and I think that all your videos came out wonderfully, and you all took the time to find something that was appropriate for a reading. So I want you to think about that one day when you're asked to read at a bookstore or a college, to think about this and what was successful in these readings is that each one had a full scene in just 2 minutes. And I think all of you did that well. and clearly. You all read clearly, which is sometimes tough.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, let's move on.
And no one prepared for the chaos that followed. All commerce suddenly stopped. Roads were quickly jammed and seized by frantic traffic. Entire stores were looted empty, and men and women turned against each other in a fight for survival. Eventually, when the monster came to a city, they would level it in a day and leave no survivors. These invaders possessed a supernatural intelligence that surpassed human beings and were extremely dangerous, making it unsafe for humans to live above ground any longer. Many fierce battles on the ground were fought between humans and these terrible creatures. 2 years after the first appearance of the monsters, a man named Smith started on a trip to survey the surrounding areas for food sources with his younger brother Calvin. Calvin was quite stubborn and impulsive and always liked to be a hero in a situation. But his actions only ever lead to trouble. Knowing this about Calvin, Smith had to remain humble and patient with him. Smith constantly had to correct Calvin and protect him from the consequences of his actions. Sometimes it could be so bad that Calvin's personality makes Smith want to see him get torn by monsters. However, those are just thoughts that Smith had in the heat of the moment. Calvin was Smith's brother, and he was still devoted to him through a love that covered his faults. One admirable thing about Calvin is that when Smith went out to look for food, Calvin was the one who always took care of the group, especially their youngest brother, Andre.
Alright. Oh, okay. How to stop sharing? Okay,
Here we
okay.
go.
Woo!
Thank you, King.
Thank you.
I'm glad we got that in. I would have been bummed if we didn't get them all.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Thank you, gang.
And thank you, everyone, for listening to the readers. And I enjoyed every single one. Thank you all. I'm going to turn it over to Susan Cook, who's
David, actually. I think David's going to wrap things up for us today.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap things up. So whoever knew that Zoom could be moving, and could take us across, all that feeling. I mean, this is such a postmodern experience, and yet somehow all those videos manage to feel intimate. And the bottom thing is listening to each other's voices and what other people have to say and how they say it, and how they connect. Because ultimately, I think that's why we're here. So every year we say goodbye to seniors that we've gotten to know and to respect. You guys are the reason that we're here, the reason that we're teachers, because you're the community of readers and writers, and you have things to teach us every day. You always thought that it was about us teaching. No. That's not why we're actually in this. We get a little bit better at this each day, but it's because of you guys. And I think above all, you give us reason to hope, because it's your creativity and your language skills, your critical minds that are going to be a gift to the world. And this is just the little way that we can celebrate your achievements. So the graduating seniors are Wesley Ashford, Lisa Baldinelli, Lauren Bori, Eric Bruno, Kang Dao, Sam Frazier, Amber Crane, River Mattis, Aaron O'Hara, Lane Parker, Alberto Pillot, Dom Treadwell, Jasmine Tyrants, and Ruth Way. Congratulations. You guys can unmute yourselves now. Let's have some fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Good job, everybody.
I should warn you, we have a dean here, and he's prone to say things at ceremonies like this. Steve, you want to add any words?
That was wonderful. I couldn't imagine a virtual get together like this would be so moving. I agree with you fully, David. So thank you to the entire department, both for what you've done for these students throughout their time, what you've done in this last semester, which has been unbelievable for all of us, but specifically to David, Sue, Dave Maloney. Thanks you were a great MC. And in fact, it was very entertaining to watch you try to find stuff on the screen for me. Did you know that? And to our graduates, congratulations. I'm really sorry for you that we don't get to watch you walk across the stage right now, right? That's really disappointing for me. It's one of my favorite parts. And but at the same time, you're finishing a college degree at a time that's unprecedented. Nobody has ever done this like this before. So, what you're actually going through and bearing is tremendous. And so, my hat's off to you. I could not have done this at your age. And I'm so proud of all of you. So my congratulations. I loved all the readings. Thank you for sharing them. And thank you again to the faculty for putting this together. It was wonderful. So, thanks.
Yay,
That's fantastic.
I can't cry anymore. I'll actually start crying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much for coming, everyone. This was really great. It was a great.
Thank you. This has been fantastic.
I even put on a sports jacket. I'm doing my Keanu Reeves impression for the sports coat. But that was the most I could do. I couldn't iron a shirt for this. I just couldn't. I'm sorry. I love you all, but the iron is done. So.
That's cool.
Dom's got her sweatpants on. So.
With a nice shirt, and I put makeup on.
Of course.
Comfort
Yeah,
on the box.
what's with all the makeup? That's like the equivalent of this shirt.
I'm trying to look nice.
You go, Dom. You look great.
You look great no matter what.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I forgot to shave last night.
That's okay.
You look great, River.
You guys are a classy bunch.
Thank you. I don't think that's a word that would describe us, but thank you.
It has a very localized meaning. So, how do you end these things? Does anybody know how to do that yet? Because I don't.
I know. We usually go right up to the end of the time, and then Maloney gets cut off.
Yeah.
I'm always
slam dunk. Yeah.
I'm always sending out the email. One more minute. Come on.
5 more minutes.
I should compile a document with all the times you've emailed us for just 5 more minutes.
Come on, it's the equivalent of me yelling while you're walking out of class. I'm not done yet. Come back. Virtually.
No, this is really the cruelest format because there's just that leave meeting button there. Everybody's waiting for somebody to hit it, and then boom. Yeah. So.
I'll do it. Bye, everybody.
Okay.
Like an ejection seat.
They really did it.
Yeah.
They did.
Yep.
All right. Congrats, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
I'll see most of you tomorrow in workshop.
That's see you guys in class.
Off this time.
We're not done yet.
All right.
We're not done.
Oh.